of Life, a show about Jewish books, music, film, and web. I'm Heidi Estrin. The Book of Life is a podcast service of the Feldman Library at Congregation B'nai Israel in Boca Raton, Florida. Additional support comes from the Association of Jewish Libraries. The Sidney Taylor Book Award, named in memory of the author of the All of a Kind family books, recognizes the best each year in Jewish books for children and teens. 3 gold medalists have been named for 2009. In the younger readers category, the winner is As Good as Anybody, Martin Luther King Jr. and Abraham Joshua Heschel's Amazing March Toward Freedom by Richard Michelson, illustrated by Raul Colon. In the older readers category, the winner is Brooklyn Bridge by Karen Hess. And in the teen readers category, the winner is A Bottle in the Gaza Sea by Valerie Zanotti. I spoke to Kathe Pinchuck, chair of the committee that chooses the Sidney Taylor Book Award winners, to learn more about this year's picks. Kathe, what made this year's Sidney Taylor Book Award winners stand out?
It's interesting because Brooklyn Bridge is obviously about Brooklyn and the Brooklyn Bridge, and the physical bridge, as well as a metaphor for Jewish immigrants that started on the Lower East Side and crossed over that bridge, moving to Brooklyn and farther out and, expanding their horizons. In the same way, in As Good as Anybody, Martin Luther King and Abraham Joshua Heschel bridge different cultures and different situations to unite and fight for civil rights. And in A Bottle in the Gaza Sea, you have an Israeli teenager who also wants to form a bridge with someone who lives in Gaza. She wants her brother, who's an army soldier, to throw the bottle in the sea, and it ends up that a Palestinian young man picks up the bottle and they start an email exchange, and they really can appreciate and understand each other's situation. And it humanizes both sides, and of course it's very timely that this book is being noticed and recognized right now.
So we have a physical bridge, we have a metaphorical bridge, we have a virtual electronic bridge. So bridging is definitely the theme this year.
It is, yes.
Now, that's an interesting background for my next question, which is, did the committee have any trouble choosing winners this year?
We started our deliberations really early, thinking that we would have plenty of time to discuss things and figure things out, and it wrapped up really quickly because there really wasn't much debate. The committee received 140 books for consideration this year, and we received some really excellent books that were just very obviously noteworthy. The publishers go on vacation from about December 24th till January 5th. So the big challenge was keeping it secret until we were able to notify the winners and the publishers.
Okay. Were there any books that the committee looked at this year that were really good and maybe even award-worthy, but not Jewish enough to win this award?
Yes. We got a book, T4, which is about the euthanasia project in Nazi Germany, where they took people who were handicapped or mentally ill, and they basically murdered them. So T4 is about a deaf girl who knows that she is, not a perfect Aryan, and she's afraid. She goes into hiding. It was actually written by someone who's deaf, who probably would have been killed during that era. That was just a very powerful book, but there really was no Jewish content. Got a book called The Dragonfly Pool that was very highly reviewed by School Library Journal and some other publications, but it really had no Jewish content in it.
It had a World War II setting, I think, right?
It had a World War II setting, and it mentioned that the people were escaping from the Nazis. Got a book by David Adler called Don't Talk to Me About the War, which is very charming, but it was about a Catholic boy. There was a girl who had escaped Austria in it who was a tangential character, but the main story was about this Catholic boy. That was also one that we did not consider, even though it was, a nice book.
So that's interesting. It sounds like a lot of the books that are really good, but only tangentially Jewish, if at all Jewish, have something to do with World War II.
Yeah.
And so people figure anything with World War II
might as well submit for a Jewish award since that was an era of Jewish concern.
Right.
Okay. Let me go on to a new question. What makes the Sidney Taylor Book Award unique among book awards?
I think the thing that makes it most unique is that we are looking for authentic Jewish content. So it doesn't matter who writes the book, and it doesn't really matter what the book is about. Even though that mandate is limiting, it also defines us so we can really look at different books. There is a book that's a notable, The Walls of Cartagena, that's also about a Catholic boy, but the Jewish character was so strong that the committee felt very strongly it should be recognized.
So it's a very flexible criteria so that you can award fiction, you can award nonfiction, you can award books with different levels of Jewish observance. The key is always that it's some kind of authentic Jewish experience being expressed in the book.
Right.
I want to say congratulations to all the authors and illustrators whose books are getting recognized this year by the Sidney Taylor Book Award Committee. Kathe, is there anything that you would like to say to them?
I think this has been the highlight of my career, is just talking to authors that I've loved for so long and being able to congratulate them that they're the winners. I'm amazed that people like Karen Hess and Rich Michelson were just so wonderful. And Valerie Zanotti, I had a little problem because she speaks French and I speak English. But also, the three of them were just so thrilled and so appreciative, and it was just such a pleasure to talk to them.
Is there any message that you want to give to all the winners who might hear this podcast?
Keep on writing great Jewish books, because the committee would love to receive them and love to recognize them.
Kathe Pinchuck, thanks for all your hard work on the committee, and thanks for talking with us about the Sidney Taylor Book Awards.
It's such a pleasure, and it's such an honor, really, to be part of this committee and be able to recognize excellence in Jewish children's literature. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about it.
You can read interviews with the Sidney Taylor Gold and Silver medalists as part of the Sidney Taylor Book Award blog tour. Links to all the interviews are available at bookoflifepodcast.com. You can also catch up on award news at sydneytaylorbookaward.blogspot.com. The Book of Life is a podcast service of Congregation B'nai Israel of Boca Raton, Florida at cbiboca.org and is supported in part by the Association of Jewish Libraries, online at jewishlibraries.org. Our background music is provided by the Freilach Makers Klezmer String Band at freilachmakers.com. Visit our podcast website at bookoflifepodcast.com or listen to the latest episode by phone at 916-313-3820. We welcome your comments and questions at bookoflifepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and happy reading.